Barbershop with Q.
Oh, okay.
John, the magnificent.
I'm with that.
I was just trying to amp it up, you know.
Okay.
Grind me thirsty, bout it, you heard me. Grind me thirsty, bout it, you heard me. Grind me thirsty, bout it, you heard me.
Live at the Barbershop.
Yes. Friday, thank you. We're back again. I got some special guests. I got some friends. Usually it's Q sitting next to me, but this time I got a boo-boo. She's like, ain't you boo-boo?
Yeah.
So, without further ado, my name is John. Sitting next to me, sitting next to Q, is Trish. How you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Sitting next to Trish is Q.
So it's your boy Q, man.
All right.
Beautiful night, man.
And of course, I got my man AP. AP is in the building.
What's good, y'all? How y'all doing?
AKA Barry White. What up?
Man, stop.
And of course, our next special guest in the building is Kate Smith. Good night, Miss Smith. How you doing?
Good night.
Very well.
Are you warm? You warm over there? Or you kind of?
Well, no.
We're sitting.
No, it's warm. It's been pretty warm out today.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Thank you.
And see. Yeah. So, okay. Everyone, tonight's show is very, very, very important. We sent out a mass text to other people in the different states that we know to let them know, please pay attention, because again, within our community, this is what we lack: the knowledge and the understanding of what's in front of us. The title itself, Jim Crow 2025, the warning signs we ignored. Tonight, the game plan is to break all these different layers down. Are we seeing it for what it is? Are we getting the wolves pulled over our eyes? Or are we just ignoring it, thinking that, it'll never happen? Because when we think about it, a lot of things have been reversed that we thought would never be reversed. So that'll be the discussion for tonight. And again, I ask everyone else out there to chime in. You have the opportunity to call in. The number is 786-592-7475. Okay? That's the shop line. And also, if you're chiming in via YouTube or anything like that, the regulars, you know how it go. You can get in on the chat as well if you don't want to call in. But we invite everyone right now for this discussion. Please call in. Every so often, we'll flash the number so that you can call in or chime in like how we normally do. So, tonight, special guest, is there anything on your mind pertaining to what we're seeing and the climate that we're seeing right now in 2025? I have a few things, but since you're the special guest in the shop tonight, I'm going to open it up to you guys first and let you speak on. So, all right, Trish?
Sure. One of the things...
All right, so just...
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think the thing that I focus more on is the rollback of the DEI with Walmart and Target.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are now calling for a nationwide boycott because, again, these programs help us and they help us to elevate ourselves and elevate our community and our families. So that's one of the topics that I want to discuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me play devil's advocate, because again, you'll have those on the other side that say, well, let's just work off of merits. Why can't we just work off of merits?
Good question. Because traditionally, that hasn't worked for us. I mean, merit-based is, which I still think it is merit. I mean, DEI is not saying that you're not qualified.
Right.
It's just giving you an opportunity to get your foot in the door.
Right.
And if you think about it, legacy is DEI.
So, all right. So let me ask Kate, the female in the room with us, your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, DEI, it requires a sustained effort across the board because you want a commitment to creating a fairer grounds for everyone, not just for a particular shade of color or gender. It's for everyone. So right now in this administration, we're leaving out everyone else but our other friends. And so we're leaving them out. We're leaving everyone out.
Right.
Like, because the minority, we've never been the minority. We've always been the majority. Allah just spreaded us out across the planet.
Right.
Okay.
So we have a large amount of the global, of not even just the state dollar, but the global dollar, that we can do that. Just what, since Target doesn't want, and those stores don't want to participate, we're gonna celebrate Costco then.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Hey, do you shop at Target?
Yes, ma'am.
And so are you going to?
I did. I shopped at Target. I shop at Walmart. I shop at any place that has a bargain and a deal. But now you don't have a deal if you can't help those that work for you. So the DEI, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. What's going to be your alternative shopping place now?
If I got to grow my own food in my yard.
Yeah, that's.
I'm about to buy a farm. So if I got to grow my own food, then so be it. I hunt. So if I got to hunt for my own food, compared to not shopping and buying my meats and stuff at Target, then that's what I have to do. If I have to become vegan, that's healthier.
I think that went over their head real quick.
Yeah.
That went over their head. You see, you said you hunt. I don't think everyone heard you. I hunt.
Yeah, I hunt.
Not for bargains, but for deers.
I hunt to feed. I hunt to feed communities, to feed myself, if had to be. And right now, what's about to take place, we all need to learn how to hunt.
I agree.
I've been saying that for a
hunt
while.
to grow our own food, because we're going to be poisoned through the things that we look as necessities: water, food, and shelter.
Yeah. See,
So
I think this is.
Yeah, we got to learn to get along. We got to learn that that we started from the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So we need
I think this is one of the main problems that we're seeing in our community, is that we've lost touch of that portion of things. You know what I mean? Like even like what you said, the mud portion, just you putting your raw feet on solid ground. We lost that portion. We were too materialized now as a people.
And just by you saying that,
but you making contact with the earth. You know what I mean? We lost that.
But yeah, she made a point about pulling back from these places, like the you support the Target, the Walmart, and go to Costco and all this space. But how do we do that? It's just the same as when we try to pull back. They ask for the pullback from all these name brand, Gucci, money, and it has never been succeed.
But that's because we can't unify.
In our community, yeah.
As a community, we don't stick together. But what's about to take place in front of our eyes in 3D, not only are we going to unify, we're going to be brothers and sisters, one nation under God, the way it's supposed to be. What they're about to take us through, these idiots.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to understand. You're not going to understand. You're going to understand what it means to live off the land and go back to our ancestors. Okay. And buying a 10-pound bag of potatoes, and you have French fries, you have everything, soup, everything, because they don't know how to live like that, but we do.
Right.
You're actually Caribbean descent.
Excuse me?
You're Caribbean descent?
No, well, I mean, I'm gonna say I'm a mutt, because my ancestry is Moors, Muskogee, Black Creek Indians of Alabama, and also Guyanese. My grandfather's mother was Guyanese, but then his father was a Moor. And then on the other side of the McCants and the Easters, you had the Moors and the Muskogee Black Creek Indians. So we was already here.
Yeah.
Like when Chicken George was our cousin, okay? Because Chicken George said that in Roots. He said, "Why you bringing those animals, those savages from across in the water?" He spoke English.
Yeah. And you know, I want to stick to one thing too. I see a lot of my people who looks like me who are saying, go home,
Hold on.
send them home, when I'm sure the people who look like me, they ain't gonna work those farms. And that's the crazy part.
You talking about going back home?
Yeah, send you home.
No, I'm saying which farms, here or back home?
No, here.
Oh, okay.
Like send them back home, send them back home,
Mhm.
send them back home. And even the people like me, I know they're not gonna do no farm work.
Saying black people?
Yeah.
Okay. Just say black people then.
Okay.
You saying people like me? I'm still trying to figure it out.
But John, if we start talking about people like we, you're gonna be left out.
Hey. Say people like me.
You're gonna be left out a little bit. So
people like me, but the people from the Drake community then. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're saying it's the same thing. Let them go home. Send them home. All right.
But so
I know they're not gonna do.
So I have a clip that I want to play. I didn't want to play it yet because I was timing it out, but I guess we could play it because this is relevant to what we're talking about now. So in a case like this, where you say you would boycott the situation, I don't know if anyone remember, but I know AP, you probably remember because we're deep into the hip hop portion of the thing. Remember when Killer Mike went and said he's gonna just go to all black owned businesses, right? Throughout the South. Yeah. It was a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Because it started out with a good idea. But as you went along, you found out how small of a number it is, right? So due to the fact that they know these things, they sit back and they say, all right, don't worry about it. They'll be back, right? Because if you need something out of Target, Costco, BJ's, Walmart, all these places, and now you decide, I'm done. You go to the little mom and pop, which is a small number. And we're not talking about just growing the food portion of things. We're talking about laundry and all these other things, and the necessity that we do every day. When you get to that point now, where do we go? And I think because they know that, and because our people in our community, the problem with it, again, here's on the other side, is the fact that when we try to work with our own people within having these black-owned businesses, sometimes it just doesn't work out for us. You understand? Sometimes it just doesn't work out for us.
And the supply.
Well, not that. I'm just saying on a business level.
Yeah.
I think it can work out because you remember when, was it Bob Johnson that started BET?
Yeah.
Okay. Started very small, just like this. Grew very big. And to me, the biggest mistake he did was the biggest mistake. But I think it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. But again, the problem with it is that sometimes we see too many dollars and cents and we don't see the bigger picture over the horizon. Sometimes it don't always have to equal out to dollars and cents. It's just a mission. See, our counterparts, they stick to the mission. Do or die, they stick to the mission. They plan out so far ahead that generations are succeeding off of it. The problem with us, we just see what's in front of us right now. The Luther Vandross syndrome.
But just listen to what Kate said. It's about to change. We're going to have to become each other's brothers keepers.
Because of their plan. The 2025.
But again,
the project
it shouldn't have to come down to getting squeezed on for us to just get that luck. And again, we don't know thoroughly if a lot of them are still going to really participate. Because you do know you have some that
everybody like
they'll not turn to you real quick.
Everybody like easy. Everything is.
Am I right or wrong, Kate?
That is true.
Everybody like easy and comfort. That is the problem. You remember Kate just said about
That's
farming. If she has to cook her own, make her own garden. Everybody like easy right now. So she will do it. But her neighbor won't do it. Her neighbor will try to reap from hers.
Well, that's
but
the
he's
point
not
I'm
gonna
just
dig
making.
the ground. You see what I'm saying?
It's not necessarily that everyone. But AP, I heard you chiming in.
Yeah, because the whole DEI effect, for them, whether it be the MAGA or these right-wing nationalists, whatever you want to call them, they're trying to equate DEI with black, for example. But if we've seen the numbers, the real numbers, when it comes down to DEI recipients and those that actually reap from DEI, primarily are white women.
Yeah.
Next comes Asian.
Yeah.
Then comes Hispanics.
And then and also the refugee settlements.
Yes. Black Americans or black are the last ones of recipients or what you want to call from DEI.
Yeah,
right?
right.
But they're using these words and these tactics, just like the crash of the planes, to say that, oh, it was DEI. But once again, 86% of pilots are white males.
Exactly.
Okay. There's only 8% of black males that are pilots. And for those two planes, none of them were black pilots or co-pilots or gay pilots at all. They were all white men, right? And then you look at what happened about an hour and a half ago in Philadelphia. You had another crash. Now, to not think that decisions of the orange man had something to do with this by firing the FAA controller, the TSA department heads, and all these individuals that were there to make sure things like this didn't happen. But what they're good at is their way of putting across the information. So they'll kill the media with DEI and pass the buck. But one thing I know about this man and Singh, whenever he passes the buck, that's a sure tell sign that they're responsible for what has happened. And the thing, there's another thing with the DEI and the boycotting, right? They're counting on us to boycott because it's going to do two things. When you look at Target has 67 black businesses or black entrepreneurs in their store, exclusively in their stores, right? So we boycott Target and don't go, and what's going to happen is the sale of those
black
people's products are going to go down, and that's going to be another reason for them to say, oh, well, you see, we don't need you in our stores anyway, get out. So right now we need to be doing what these Republicans were doing during the George Floyd, when the whole world turned their backs on white men. That was during George Floyd. But the thing was this: we were marching and doing all that stuff, but they were legislating at that time. There was no legislation from any other side but the Republicans. So we need to legislate, but once again, I keep hearing the unity and the unity and the unity. Listen, if we can't stay on message for one thing, because everybody feels like, oh, well, Kamala didn't do enough of this and Kamala didn't do enough. Out of everything that Trump has done, you haven't heard any single one of them say one bad thing about this man.
See that, but go ahead.
And they know he's wrong. They know he's wrong, but you know what? They're staying on message and on task because they have something at the end of the day that they're going towards. There's a goal, right?
The goal.
There's a goal, and Q said it, and we all of you have said it. It's a comfortability, right? Until that we're able to stay uncomfortable and live through it, there's not really going to be a change because everybody's used to being really comfortable and waiting for something to happen. No, man.
Yeah,
if
nobody giving up their comfort.
Nah. But at the end of the day, you better believe it. We know how to survive, just like Kate says. We know how to survive in a different way that they don't. Right.
I see Kate waiting to jump in on something. You said something that touched it right there. Go ahead, Kate.
I saw her.
Just waiting, you know.
Go ahead.
I just want to go back to what he said, that something happened for them to plan this. This has been planned. If you read Racial Matters by Kenneth O'Reilly, it was the FBI secret file on Black America. So Project 25 it's look like you're looking at both that file in Project 25. So this has been planned for a long time.
Yeah.
They just couldn't get the amount of people in Congress and the three branches of the government. They couldn't get the majority, and now they have that.
So now,
so he has a lot of power, but he can't change amendments because if that's the case, then most Republican wives would be deported. Okay, so can't change.
Right.
So he'd be taking all his in-laws, all their in-laws would be going back.
Facts.
So and then if you really want to bring it to the geography, because it's showing that most Republicans are not smarter than a fifth grader, because the original, there's 10 stages of the Pangea map, which is the original map before the formations of water. So before that, the original continent of North America was Central America, South America, and North America. Yeah. Europe was not even close. They couldn't even swim here, okay? So who's the immigrants?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. You and I were having this discussion the other night, and that's the same thing we were talking about, where it's like, yo, for you to have the audacity right now.
Exactly.
To be the outsider, and then you be able to come and tell someone else now, they can't even come into their own home. That's crazy. But again, here's the thing that we have to pay attention to. The mere fact that they do stick together and they stick through it all the way to the end. No matter what the casualties are in between, we're gonna make sure this thing rides out.
Because it's a greater, because see, we don't understand the greater of it all. Okay, because technically 2030, there's a race that's losing their population, and that's due to, and that's what they, and that's due to what they didn't want to happen, segregation. Okay, and then now you can't keep. I have 3 grandchildren. Okay, and I have to reiterate to my daughter-in-law that they're Black, sweetie, very much so. That little patch on the back of their head that you try to slick down with gel, that's not coming down snappy. Because of our gene, because of our chromosome. So you can't erase that. And so what people fail to realize is that when there's a white child, a white father, and a Black mother, that child is biracial. It doesn't harm their white genetic survival. But when you have populations where the father is a melanated, that harms their white genetic survival, and their white genetic survival has been at risk ever since White Man Can't Jump came out. Okay, it's been at risk. Okay,
so let me ask a question now. So we saw the reversal of Roe versus Wade, right? And we thought that would never happen, right? That was the first sign right away that a lot of us should have sat back and said, oh, wait a minute. Because, I said it before on this show before. I said, listen, to all my brothers and sisters out there, I'm going to tell you something right now. Do not think for a minute that they will not try and put some things in place to try and return back to where this was prior to us.
Yeah, shut them up.
Okay? Yeah. Do not sit down and think that life is just easy and everything is just willy-nilly and we're good. You always have to be on your P's and Q's. And I think the problem with our neighborhood, and I'll say it again, and it's not an age thing because I see all the younger people always saw the TikToking and the IG and all these different things is cool for whatever business purposes. But outside of that, we lose so much focus on important things because we're just like this in the matrix, so bad. And that's what they want. Because while you're dancing and twerking and all this other stuff, they pass laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of what's the opposite of woke?
Sleepy.
Sleep.
Okay. So they want to make everybody think that being woke is a negative term, right? That it's negative. So they could rock us back to sleep. And they're rocking us back to sleep with the music, with the content creation, with the food, with the, hey, hey, everybody needs to be able to smoke marijuana. With the lean, with all these things, right? With the false narrative of people thinking that they could actually really make money. You see, once more black people started becoming millionaires, started being nothing to them.
Yeah.
It was about becoming billionaires, right? So there's always a shift, and there's always that little dangling thing that's out there for people to look at to say, hey, I want that, I want that.
Mm.
And for us on our side, there's too many people saying, well, I want this, or I want this, or I want this, or I want this a different way. Like, man, unity is something serious, right? But once again, knowing what your individuals that are against you are doing, and it's not even a trying to do what they're doing. I mean, this is going back to 1966 with Goldwater, right?
Yeah.
This is all a playbook that was already done before. This has been the same playbook Trump has been following from the get, right? Because once again, he was born into this, right? And people act like, oh no, well, they have black people in their family. Listen, man, the big mama used to have the white people's kids feed on the black woman, grandmother, right? So if they were doing that back then, I don't hear nothing about white friends, black friends, and this and that, man. They use everybody for a purpose, and that's it.
Yeah.
For a purpose, right? And the sooner that more people could see it and understand, it'll be better. Because like me seeing these people, these individuals that voted for this man sitting here crying on social media and TV
Crazy.
about,
it's crazy.
Man, listen here, man. Keep your tears.
But I don't know why.
Crocodile.
I don't know why. He told them point blank what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but he said many times what he was going to do, but nobody thought that
Then
it was actually
they said he's
gonna
the liar.
happen.
He's a liar.
No.
But he wasn't lying.
Pause
when he
for a
said
minute.
those things.
AP and I, we all sat here on this show and said the same thing. What the problem was, you have certain individuals that thought he's not talking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm Spanish speaking or Latino or anything, he's not talking to me.
Yeah.
He's talking to that one. You understand what I'm saying?
The
We said it
Venezuelans.
before. If we lined everyone up here, right? Aside from Caribbean people who can tell different things, cheekbones, blah, 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 height, all these different things, right? We could tell it.
Yeah.
But it's just like vice versa. When they look at us, we all look alike, right? Same thing, right? So, go ahead, Kate.
The media
But,
says
but,
a liar.
but you know, it is more melanated people, because he's not saying he's doing anything to the Russians in Brighton Beach, okay, or the Irish in Boston, okay, or his Scottish heritage. So what is he? So what he's aiming at is melanated people, still people that can stand the sun. So that's a discrimination.
But you see, they have to go about it in the easy way, right? So now it's I go after him, then eventually I get to you.
But see, what people don't recognize is that we are all being traumatized. We are all picking up vicarious trauma, just being secondary trauma victims.
Yeah.
Of what we see is triggering other, and then they don't even have, when we had a senile president before, it was Ronald Reagan. His last years of his administration, he was senile. Nancy Reagan ran the country.
Took it over, yeah.
Yes, and she dismantled mental health. And ever since then, we've been seeing mental health on social media, in the news, with these made-up wars for gold, oil, or drugs, but not the God that we supposed to all serve. So it's made up. And they use the American people as like crash dummies. Young people that risk their lives to go into service ever since the Vietnam War. We can't do that.
But
See,
John, there's something that you said, right? That I can tell you, when you said about Roe v. Wade, right?
Yeah.
They were strategic in going at Roe v. Wade first because they know
It's a
there's
testing ground.
not only is it a testing ground, but they know as far as Black people, there's a large constituency of Black people that are not cool with abortions.
Right.
That are not cool with it at all, that are really conservative, right? That don't lean all that way, but that was one thing that they could say, well, you know what? I'm not with the killing babies. But then they made it go all the way to the point that, they're killing babies up to 9 months and stuff like that. But using little similarities of things that you may kind of agree with, that's how you start getting the people to go over that line to their side, right? Because I mean, I could say for Caribbean people, I don't know that many Caribbean people that are down with or for abortion at all.
Right.
They may not say it outwardly, publicly, but I know for sure, for sure,
they have names for those.
And so that's really crazy when abortion, Planned Parenthood was put in place to get rid of so many babies. So that's very crazy that now wasn't about us in the first place. Reversing Roe versus Wade was about their white genetic survival.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I mean, I was young before, and when many people that you can ask or take a poll on this, but Black men and Hispanic men are not really willing to give up abortion money. Okay.
Right.
So we have those babies. but John Reynolds III, his daddy is not going to allow that.
All right.
But
not only that, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, my kids say I'm silly. I'm very silly, but it's serious. But you have to joke about it because the way they're speaking, okay, it doesn't even make right sense. Because when a man can control his ejaculation, then maybe he can control my uterus. But until then, you can't tell a woman how her uterus, when her uterus is supposed to move. Because we got to remember the moon, every new moon is a woman's cycle. So that's for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So how can politicians say
some old man?
Yeah, exactly. That's probably impotent by now.
Some old man.
They can't even draw an egg.
Can you hear me? How much of an impact do you think that Roe v. Wade made? Because even during the election, I thought that was going to be a huge selling point. And you saw all the commercials with all these women saying they were going to vote against their husbands and vote against.
They say that here, but then when they get it, I don't believe the hype. I was just saying that.
See, it wasn't about anything but one thing.
What's that?
And that's hate.
Yeah.
Hate.
Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, the bottom line is hate. Okay, but they didn't realize that they need to start looking at the numbers, because if you look at the Sundown interactive map of all those historical sundown places, that's majority white, they get majority welfare funds.
Yeah.
Not the Black communities.
See, that's the narrative they've been spinning on a lot of things, even with the abortion portion of things.
And then another thing, I can't say where I work, but the border, but
Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, yeah, Chuck E. Cheese. When you have some Cubans coming in and they can't speak English, but they have it listed that they're white.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And that's the reason why there's so much crying, because as you said earlier, they put themselves. They weren't talking to them.
Right.
They were talking to us.
Right.
And that's
and
what's
I have
getting back at them.
been around them. I've been around them hating on their own people.
Yeah.
Hating on other Puerto Rican or Dominican or Spanish or Mexican as if they're garbage and they're better.
Yeah. That's in their community. They grade each. I'm sorry, they grade each other different.
Yeah.
In the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
I am
ahead
from there. I'm there.
and call a Cuban a Dominican and see what happens. Call a Dominican a Mexican and see what happens.
But you know the saddest?
Call a Puerto Rican a Cuban and it's different. Yeah.
But the saddest thing is that the Black woman is the only woman on this planet that carries the mitochondria gene, which is also known as the Eve gene. So we're the only women that can reproduce every other race. So every race came from us.
Yeah.
So
That is
we
facts.
don't know who we are anymore.
That is true.
We don't know who we are. So until we allow them, or until they allow us to reintroduce ourselves to who we really are, the kings and queens we really are, and how we really about to come back, then they not gonna understand.
Yeah, that is knowledge, because I have friends in Jamaica who looks like John, but the mother and the father look like my shirt.
I'm Jewish.
I don't know.
I'm Black Jew.
If you heard about
mother and father
Jamaica,
look like my shirt, but the baby look like John. So they produce.
It jumps a gene. I'm Black Jew. So.
No, but you know what they said about Jamaican population last week, the study that came out, right? That 87% of individuals in Jamaica, primarily Jamaica, are not of the mother and father that they actually think that. No, that's
I've
for
been
real.
hearing that for a long time, man.
You said 80%?
Yeah.
80%.
It's a Thriller jacket.
Well, actually, it was 76%. I rounded it up to 80. 76%. When they did blood tests, they found out that mother and father were not exactly the real mother and father.
Hey, P, we're gonna educate Kate on what's that called. It's called a Thriller jacket with all the zippers. With all the Michael Jackson zippers.
Well, at least my mom didn't lie to my dad. I resemble my mama. My dad.
Yeah, man.
I resemble my dad. So
what do you accuse that? Are you my dad? Who you look like, fool?
Yeah.
So okay, here's another point that I wanted to make now. So again, speaking on the hate, that will put things in progress when we talk about this mass deportation. Now, to some degree, I do understand what the situation is, because again, we're from the Caribbean. So again, if it was vice versa and wherever we're from,
it's happening to everybody. But
right. So I understand to
the majority of what we're seeing.
The problem that I have is that the hate portion of it is actually going to boomerang so bad, because when we talk about, like we said, agriculture, we talk about all these different things that it's going to affect, because again, those people are not going to go out there in those fields and get these things moving. Those people are not going to, just down to even cutting the grass or the regular smuggler situation that we do on a day-to-day, washing your car, whatever. It's not going to happen. So I'm going to play you got the video or the audio? Audio. All right, I'm going to play an audio clip, and I want everyone to hear this, right? So this is a situation that happened in the UK, and we spoke about it on the show in a prior episode, and I explained to everyone before, this happened in a town in the Midwest where they try to get rid of a lot of the Mexican citizens over there, and it just destroyed the whole area after that. So go ahead and play that.
So not too long ago, the United Kingdom officially left the EU, because just like America, they too are also anti-immigration. Now, the UK didn't carry out mass deportation. What they did was change the rules around immigration, basically now requesting that all EU citizens that came from EU nations to the United Kingdom have to apply for a visa and pay to continue to stay and work here. Now, a lot of EU citizens did not appreciate the fact that they are now being treated as second-class citizens. So you know what they did? They voluntarily packed up, a majority of them, and they went home. Upon them leaving, Petrol stations were temporarily closed down because there was no truck drivers to deliver the petrol. People were finding themselves traveling miles and miles and miles, queuing up at 5, 6, 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to get petrol as soon as 1 or 2 trucks dropped the petrol off. There was no farmers to reap the crops so that it could get into the supermarkets. So supermarkets were also empty. Even things as common as eggs, you could not find in supermarkets. And it was so bad that the British government had to end up going on TV begging these people to come back. You know why? Because the people who voted for the United Kingdom to leave the EU and voted for the immigration rules to change for EU citizens are the same people who were not willing to do these jobs. Now the UK is trying to rejoin the EU because they now understand how imperative immigration is for any and every country, whether the person is documented or undocumented. Understand that statistically around the world, in the Western world, immigrants compared to national citizens put more money in the economy than they take out because most immigrants do not have access to public funds. I see a lot of people in the comment section talking about how the UK needs to follow. The UK has already learned this lesson. It is time for America to learn the same. Good day.
Facts.
Yeah.
Now,
just a quick one. What's the problem with eggs? Everybody right around the world just talking about eggs.
Makes you hungry.
No, every news you go on, it's the price of egg. I can do without egg.
Because eggs used to be like, I guess you would say throwaway at a point. When you used to go to the store and buy a carton of eggs for what? $1 or something, or $2 or something. Eggs are now $7 to $14.
Save the chicken, leave the eggs.
Can't save the chicken nowadays either.
Exactly.
Bird flu. So,
But you know,
go ahead.
I actually heard about the UK trying to join the union, going back with the union. They realize how hard it is to be independent, and they realize now that they have to go back.
Yeah.
Same thing happened in that little town.
But that's when you stick together. What race? What is it?
What race? What?
They say that packed up and leave. It was a
No, it's
that's
just-
a big
No,
just immigrants.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you know,
Stick together.
the problem with it again, and again, this is why we're having this show and this discussion, is that you can't look at anything just one way and think that, because again, see, before the rest, not talking to me, not today, but tomorrow is something else. Because again, today you may look at the TV and say, okay, because mind you, check out the propaganda campaign that's going on. They're rapists, they're killers. We're making sure that they're okay. We're talking about the Karens of the world, the Kates of the world, because that's what I keep hearing in a lot of these things. And again, if we're talking about social media and the media and fake this and everything, the narrative that they spin to us, what is that then? Because a lot of it is not truthful on what's going on amongst us either, right? So at the end of the day, when you say we're going, how do you have, where's that information coming from? If they're undocumented, how did you catch this dude that did this and did that? So if that's the case, what happened to the people from January? You see what I'm saying? You're pardoning all these people.
From the
So how are they any different in certain? You understand the erection?
Yeah.
How's it any different?
But they're looking for at least 6 of those guys from the insurrection.
But how is it any different at the end of the day? A crime is a crime. A crime is a crime. Now you're talking about inviting them to the White House at one point now.
Yeah.
So now, if that's the case, I remember at one point, if you even just say, "Hold on, officer," oh, you touch me, that's assaulting an officer. Boom, written up, right?
Yeah.
You got people on video knocking police officers in the head, doing things, and now where we at?
Yeah.
Where we at?
It's all about money, man. That comes. It's all about money, because if you remember, right after everything happened, all those senators, all those congressmen, everybody turned their back, said, "Oh, you know, It's done. We're done with Trump. But as you can see,
Yeah.
or if you really followed, you'll know that a lot of individuals like Marjorie Taylor Greene, some of the other senators were doing or were more involved than just what people think into those individuals having access, right?
Mm.
So when you hear about police officers that were waving people in, some of those police officers were the people, which I believe, because I followed all the January 6th papers and like that they were part of the insurrection, and there were some
Mm.
that were not, right? But understand, their rules are for us, not them.
Yeah.
Their rules are for us, not them. So when one of their sons does something, and like you said, well, you don't really know what happened when it came down to how people were saying what they were going to be doing, stuff like that, especially white women. Oh, we're for Kamala and this and that. Listen, at the end of the day, when they look at it and say, am I going to want Tommy to go to jail or Tommy not to have power? My little Tommy or my little Barry, or their sons, their nephews, their husbands. You think they're going to turn against them to help somebody else? In actuality, no. So that's been always the thing that's happened to black women in America.
Mhm.
Throughout time, it's always been that sacrificial lamb has been the black woman in every which way form, whether it's getting support, whether it's protecting, whatever it is, it never goes all the way as it's supposed to go. And
Mm.
that's by design, not just by happenstance. Once again, these plans were in line for a while. When they kept on saying Project 25, Project 2025, people were like, ha ha ha, yeah, 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 whatever. But slowly but surely, they're seeing a lot of things. And one other thing, which, I keep hearing people, oh man, Trump is doing so much. And he's not doing so much. What he did was just rescind everything that Biden, Harris um, did, okay? And thinking that you could govern by EOs, which are executive orders, is the most asinine thing in the world because that's not governing, that's not legislating, that is dictating.
Yeah.
Okay. And plus, all those things that he's put in line are not all going to stick at all because some of them are unconstitutional, no matter how long, how much his press secretary, who's 27 years old, is saying that the Constitution is unconstitutional. Like, just think about that. Like she said, the Constitution is unconstitutional in a press
But
conference, and you only had three people fight back towards that.
But,
Because
but
once again, you had a election cycle where all these Republicans, whether you guys know it or not, did not have to go out and ask for money and raise up money because all their campaigns were funded. All their campaigns were funded. If you
mm.
bowed down and accepted Trump, you were taken care of because who was running the RNC? It was his daughter-in-law. So if you wanted to get funding for your campaign, so you wouldn't have to run around crazy, you just so all these things here are really what we should be doing. Like in Florida, I said this to someone last night when they were talking about the Florida chair that we had, which was Chevron Jones.
Mm.
Listen, if we keep putting the people that won't stand up against basic people for our rights, they don't need to be in the position.
Yeah,
All
I was
right.
just gonna say, can't put them in.
They don't need to be in that position. And we need to really stand behind our individuals who are toting the line correctly. And I know people are going at Tabitha for her stance on the whole boycott and everything like that. But that's another example of what we're talking about. It's either that you're going to be with the people or you're not going to be with the people.
Yeah, but when
Mm.
if we don't stand for something, We have to stand for something, and
Exactly.
so just doing nothing. We have done nothing for many years, and that's why the youth has lost respect for the OGs. They've lost respect, and then we've, as older people, have given up on talking. But we
That's
rather, So we can't give up, because this is the wrong time to give up, and this is the wrong time. And then I'm tired of, I've been a victim advocate for 25 years and dealing with wanting to try to make changes in prison reform. We have a standing president with 34 convictions when the Black or Hispanic man can only have 3, and he's considered a habitual felon. He's still a candy bar. He get life.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we gonna let this ride like this? How can we stand, and how can we stand up and say we doing? I have grandsons, and my grandsons are not gonna look and say, "Well, Grandma, what did you do?"
Yeah, that's understanding.
It hits different now since I have grandsons, and I don't like when they parents touch them. So I'm not gonna let anybody touch them because of the color of their skin.
But
that's why I left Maryland, because they threatened to kill me because of the color of my skin, and I had custody of my grandson. See, Trump's day, I lived in a county that chartered buses to that insurrection. The pastor's brothers and nephews went to that insurrection. I lived amongst those people and was called nigger every other day like it was my middle name. And this is 21st century. From 2018, I didn't know what a Klan was until these men came to my house in pickup trucks and asked my neighbor, did they want them to get rid of that nigger? And if I had any nigger men. 2018. In Western Maryland.
Well, see, that's the thing we're talking about.
Okay,
Don't think that it can't happen.
It's about because Monday when he took office, all those sundown towns have awakened. They wasn't asleep. We just wasn't driving through there.
That's it.
So how do we?
Because when I left Maryland, I left not because I love guns.
Okay.
So I left Maryland because of safety.
So with the title of the show being, ignoring or the warning signs of not going back to Jim Crow, how do we effectively and strategically move forward? Because we really cannot go back.
Thank you, sweetheart. Let me share that with you, because I've been. This is. I'm gonna. If I gotta die trying to make some change for my grandchildren, your grandchildren, your children, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna let my kids be caught. So, in order for us to make change, because right now, Jim Crow era is looking just like 2025.
Facts.
Jim Crow era, was from the late 19th century to the mid 20th century in the United States. But what was different between then and now is that we have to be able to polarize it, because we have cameras, we have phones, we have social media. We're not. I think back then you had so much local segregation and disenfranchised in states and local communities, because a lot of things was happening, like in Montgomery and Birmingham, that the federal government wasn't even aware of. So those are the things. And so it's looking, and what's making it look similar. Let me tell you the similarities between the Jim Crow era now. You have voter suppression concerns. You have racial division and rhetoric.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Yes. And then you have challenges to our civil rights. Our civil rights are opposed. The advancements of it they're opposed. Civil rights is being rolled backwards. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it because it's never been a time where, okay, digest this. This year, 2025, January 2025, Martin Luther King, no child in elementary school or middle school is learning about Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Because they can't learn anything before 1970 about our history. It's not CRT. It's real life.
Yeah.
And we have an administration that's very ignorant. They're not as smart as fifth graders, because one was being interviewed and they said, well, you're saying that you're going to cut Head Start and the food, the lunch program. And he was like, yeah, they need to get a job. And the reporter looked like, get a job? You talking Head Start, toddlers. They supposed to get a job. So you going to change the work law too? The age where you old enough to work? So these are idiots. So that's how that's what showed you it has nothing to do with politics. It has something to do with white supremacy.
Yeah. And we see that every day. Go ahead.
It's crazy.
That's all. And see, the biggest thing what people's not realizing is now where we're gonna have a problem is because he can pad the judicial branch. He can pad the Supreme Court justices so that they can interpret his rhetoric through their decisions.
That's what's going on now.
Yeah, so we can't let that happen. We can't let that. So that's why it's imperative that people know that any office that's an elected office, they can't be fired. They have to be, they have to lose. So just like your sheriffs, if your sheriff is crooked, you don't have to have that sheriff. Next time he's running for election, you just make sure everybody votes.
Right. Yeah.
So we got to understand that we're not understanding the legislative branches of government, because you remember, see, to keep us dumb, they took civics out of high school education.
They did. They surely did.
Okay,
a lot
of
things.
Dumb. Okay, now mind you, I feel like suing the United States Department of Education for my college loans because you lied to me. Every book was a lie. Okay. Yeah. If you want to keep it 100, keep it above with me. Give me some of my money back. Let's break even. Because everything you put in those books was lies. I had to go to thrift shops and abandoned warehouses where you done threw all the abandoned books to get free books to find the real stuff out. And you done let the light bulb go off in their head. Look at it. It's like, that's real right there. That's true. So you owe everybody. Everybody's student loan should have been canceled.
True.
Because you lied to us. There's no Christopher Columbus.
Oh.
He was the first serial rapist.
Christopher Columbus.
Okay, so stop lying. Stop. And so public awareness. And then with the DEI, DEI can be saved. Okay? Because of where they messed up at. I had an Uber driver tell me, she asked me, I said, my daughter lives in LA, and she says, oh, those fires was caused by DEI. What the hell? DEI caused the fires in LA. Haven't LA been burning every season?
That's all they could say. That's all they could say.
With everything. I mean, are you stupid? And just like Trump said, CRT, he's going to cancel CRT in the military. There is no CRT in the military. That's called combat training. That's combat training. So you cancel that, dummy, then they can't fight nobody for us. But these are the idiots that we working with.
But the thing is that you have the knowledge for that, but the people who you see was rallying for him, they could not answer a basic question. And that's the thing that put him in power.
Because again, you got to understand.
And when you keep saying the same thing over and over and over, people adapt it. People just grab to it and run with it and keep it. So even this DI, what they keep saying, there is people seeing things that happening and they're still keeping it, whatever he says. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I agree with supporting those that support us. Like, they said, I'm going to Costco. Get me a Costco card.
Look, every church before they take up collections say don't pay today because we're gonna pay to Costco. So I want everybody when they leave here, let's go to Costco because Costco is raising their minimum wage and they're raising their hourly pay to $30 an hour because they know they're gonna get fined by that idiot. So we need to go and help them pay for their fines and make sure we spend all our money and take it from Target and for Wally World and take it over to Costco.
Somebody look like they about to apply.
They got more.
You should have seen his face. You should have seen his face.
They got the best churros in the world. So let's just leave everybody else alone and go to Costco.
Kate, I think Q about to go there. He gonna apply and then he gonna start a farm. But in closing, I just want to add something.
Interested,
I would like for everyone out there to get a full visual on this real quick, right? So when you think about it, all these people that are driving the Teslas, right? All the black individuals that made it, the George Jefferson struts, and they got their Teslas and all this, and you're seeing certain things from the individual that's giving these these signs and all these different things, right? How do you feel? That's one. Two, if you have young men, whether it be your son, nephew, neighbor, whatever, think about the fact of when they're saying they're not going to hold police accountable for anything, any actions, and you're still cool with these things. When you think about all these different laws and different things that they're trying to change, and it's going to affect you in the long run, but you're just so into still trying to, because I've seen so many people that look like you that are okay. Yeah, since you don't look like me, that look like you, that are in these rallies and at these places and everything. Now, by no means am I telling anyone who to do what, but I'm just saying, again, when you think it has nothing to do with you, trust.
Yeah.
It's coming right back at you.
Yeah.
Trust, it's coming right back at you.
It started right now at one set, but it's coming at us. It's coming, you know?
So I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. So a little teaser, since we spoke about Sundown Town. I'm just gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there. We got something coming called Sundown Town. Is this really how they get down?
Wow,
I like that one. Okay, so please do your due diligence. Get educated on a lot of these subject matters. And the problem again with platforms like these, we need more interaction. We need more viewership. We need more people going out and subscribing, clicking the notification bells, and seeing us on all the platforms. The problem with it, we adore ratchetness. We just denounce anything educational. This is crazy. So right now, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Kate, I want to thank you.
Yeah.
Trisha, I want to thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Q, AP, Black IT.
Yeah.
Live at the Barbershop every Friday, 9 p.m. Please get ready for Sundown Town. Is this really how they get down? Okay? That's coming. I'm not going to put it out yet. We'll put the flyer up and have everything ready for y'all.
Yeah,
but trust me.
Remember, next month is Black History Month.
Like, you got to get into it. And again, we're going to have part 1 and 2. So I'm telling everyone right now, tell a friend to tell a friend. Spread the word, please. We need platforms like this to win. Because right now, we are at war. Trust and believe. We are at war.
And
right?
This Black History, we should be going harder. For
Yeah,
Black
we should.
History. Yeah, we should
But
be
again,
going harder.
You know, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I'm a realist at the same time. Can I do my DMX? Just don't sit it, man. I just don't sit it. It's a hard battle right there. It is. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a very hard situation because we've been so programmed for all this time. It's a fewer amount of us, like you said. You see the word minority, majority. They flip it around. We're higher numbers, but you're calling us minorities. Figure. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is to change that mindset, because we as the majority still call ourselves minorities. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at that, hey, it's you know it for a fact. You have co-workers, you have family members. When you bring up subject matters like this, one start to walk out the room, another one.
Yeah.
But when you say, "Oh, did you see that on YouTube? Somebody smacked somebody in hip hop." Everybody's up on it. Oh yeah. The word programming is there for a reason, and like we said, they plan strategically, way ahead of time, way ahead of time. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, I'm not saying It can happen, but right now we got a lot of hard work ahead of us. So I want to thank everyone for joining us live at the Barbershop every Friday, 9 p.m. Thank you very much. And as I say,
Good night.
get off the
Good
couch
night.
and go out in the world and be somebody.
Go out in the world and be somebody.